Assalamualaikum students. Last time we were talking about hydrocarbons and we discussed the saturated hydrocarbon part. I told you people these hydrocarbons have been classified into two main types. One is saturated hydrocarbons and another is unsaturated hydrocarbons. And we discussed the saturated hydrocarbons last time. Let me recapitulate certain important points regarding these saturated hydrocarbon. First thing, you people must remember that somebody will pose your question that what actually these hydrocarbons are, saturated hydrocarbons are. You people should answer in a jiffy that a hydrocarbon in which the carbon atoms are connected by only single bonds, and we call those particular hydrocarbons as saturated hydrocarbons. And one more thing you people must remember that in last video lecture I told you people that these saturated hydrocarbons are also called as alkanes, because an alkane is a hydrocarbon in which the carbon atoms are connected only by single covalent bonds, and there is no double nor there is a triple bond as far as alkanes are concerned. They are always connected with each other through single covalent bonds. Thus all the hydrocarbons like methane, I told you people that like methane, CH4 like ethane, C2H6 like propane, C3H8. I told you people these all have been classified in saturated saturated hydrocarbons. Methane, ethane, propane form a series of compounds known as alkanes, and the names of these saturated alkanes end with N, like this is alkane, ANEN. That's a suffix by which these saturated hydrocarbons end, and that's why I told you people these are called as alkanes. That's why this is methane, this is ethane, this is propane, this is methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, hexane, heptane. It's a series of compounds known as alkanes. And one more thing I would like to add here, that in the last video lecture we discussed that how we can make the series of these compounds by using their general formula, and their general formula is CnH2n plus 2. We discussed this thing. Let me recapitulate certain things regarding the general formula of saturated hydrocarbons. For example, the general formula for saturated hydrocarbons is CnH2n plus 2. For example, let's substitute the value of n equal to 4. For example, n equal to number of carbon atoms means if an alkane has 4 carbon atoms in its molecule, then n equal to 4 and its molecular formula will be like this C4H2 into 4 plus 2, that equal to C4H42R8 plus 2, that will equal to C4H10. This is how by using general formula we can make the series of these compounds, these unsaturated hydrocarbons. So this was actually the recapitulation of the last video lecture which I discussed with you people, that the bottom line of the story was that by using the general formula of these alkanes we can make a series of the saturated hydrocarbons like methane, ethane, propane, pentane, butane, I can say hexane, heptane, octane, nanane, decane. Like this we can make a series of hydrocarbon series by using the general formula of these alkanes. Now as far as today's lecture is concerned, we are going to discuss one more type of the hydrocarbons, that's unsaturated hydrocarbons. Let's discuss unsaturated hydrocarbons. So as far as these alkenes are concerned, this is second type of the hydrocarbons. These alkenes are also called as unsaturated hydrocarbons. So I told you people that there are two types of hydrocarbons. One is saturated hydrocarbon, another is unsaturated hydrocarbons, and these unsaturated hydrocarbons are also called as alkenes. Now the question arises, what are these unsaturated hydrocarbons? Unsaturated hydrocarbons, a hydrocarbon in which the two carbon atoms are connected by a double bond or a triple bond, and we call those particular alkenes as unsaturated hydrocarbons. Now the question arises, what are these unsaturated hydrocarbons? Alkenes or the family of hydrocarbons containing at least one carbon-carbon double bond. There should be the carbon-carbon double bond, at least one carbon-carbon double bond. And alkenes or unsaturated hydrocarbons with the presence of double bond. That means a hydrocarbon in which the carbon atoms are connected by a double bond or a triple bond. We call those particular type of hydrocarbons as unsaturated hydrocarbons. So ethene, this is ethene. Ethene is the simplest of the unsaturated hydrocarbons. And important unsaturated hydrocarbon because ethene contains a double bond, and as far as ethene is concerned, a double bond is only formed by the sharing of two pairs of electrons between the two carbon atoms. Like this, for example, this is carbon. Carbon is having atomic number of 6. That means in its first shell it contains 2 electrons, and in second shell it contains 4 electrons. Like this, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Another carbon, this is 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is sharing of two pairs of electrons like this. That means this carbon becomes stable and this carbon also becomes stable. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like this becomes stable. Like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This carbon becomes stable like this. That means a double bond is always, this is double bond, this is single bond, this is double bond. So a double bond is formed by the sharing of two pairs of electrons between the two carbon atoms. So now the question arises, somebody will pose your question, what actually these unsaturated hydrocarbons are. You people should remember that a hydrocarbon in which the carbon atoms are connected by a double or a triple bond. Now the question arises, why this double bond is formed between the carbon atoms. A double bond is formed by the sharing of two pairs of electrons between the carbon atoms. Now the question arises, somebody will pose your question, why double bond gets formed between the two carbon atoms. It's only because every single thing in this universe, I told you people in the previous lectures that every single thing in this universe tends to be stable or wants to be stable. Same is the case with these carbon atoms. They share one or two pairs of electrons or three pairs of electrons as far as alkynes are concerned. That's another unsaturated hydrocarbon. And now the question arises, why they share electrons with each other. The only funda behind sharing of electrons is that to make themselves stable, that because every single thing in this universe tends to be stable or wants to be stable. The general formula for these alkanes is CnH2n. Now the question arises, what's the general formula by which we can get a series of these alkanes is CnH2n. Now we will see how we can substitute the value of n in this general formula, and by using the general formula, how we can make the series of the unsaturated hydrocarbons, also called as alkenes. Now the question arises, why these unsaturated hydrocarbons are called as alkenes? Because they are called as alkenes because there is double bond between the carbon-carbon atoms, and there should be at least one carbon-carbon double bond between the carbon atoms. Ene is the suffix which is used like this. This is ene. An means, I told you people, an means single bonds, and ene means carbon-carbon double bonds. That's why they are called as alkenes because there is a presence of a double bond between the carbon-carbon atoms. Now we will discuss how we can make, by using general formula, how we can get a series of these alkenes by using their general formula. Let's discuss this thing. As far as these alkenes are now concerned, now somebody will pose you a question that what actually these alkenes are. An alkene is an unsaturated hydrocarbon in which the two carbon atoms are connected by double bonds is called as alkene, and the general formula for the alkenes is CnH2n. By using this general formula, we can make a series of the these unsaturated hydrocarbons, particularly these alkenes. For example, let's discuss how we can make a series of compounds by using the general formula of these alkenes. For example, this is CnH2n. This is general formula for alkenes. Now substitute the value of n. For example, if we will substitute the value of n equal to, I told you people, this n is actually the number of carbon atoms. So number of carbon atoms. For example, substitute the value of n equal to C into 2 H2 into 2, that is C2 H2 into 2, that means 4. That means C2, the first member of alkenes will be C2H4. This is like this. Look, the first member of alkene series is C2H4, that's ethene. Why we call them as enes? They are also called as olefins. These alkenes are also called as olefins because they are oil producing. Now, why they are called as enes? Because ene is a suffix used for carbon-carbon double bond. That's why I told you people that there should be at least one carbon-carbon double bond as far as these alkenes are concerned. That's why they are called as enes. For example, in last video lecture, I told you that these alkanes are called as they are used by using the suffix "an." That's why methane, propane, butane, pentane. But these are named by using suffix "ene". That's why alkene, or ethene, propene, butene. These prop is the number of carbon atoms, but is the number of carbon atoms, and ene is the carbon-carbon double bond. So let's discuss some more examples. This is general formula CnH2n. Substitute the value of n equal 3 now. That means if an alkane has 3 carbon atoms in its molecule, then n equal 3 and its molecular formula will be C3H2 into 3, that is C3H32R6, that's C3H6. Another member, this is also called as propene. Prop means 3 carbon atoms and ene means carbon-carbon double bond. That's why I told you these are unsaturated hydrocarbons, because these unsaturated hydrocarbons are actually the hydrocarbon in which the carbon atoms are connected by the double bonds. Now CnH2n. Now substitute the value of n equal to 4. That means if an alkane has 4 carbon atoms in its molecule, then n equal to 4, and its molecular formula will be C4H2 into 4. That means C4H42R8. That means C4H8. This is butene. Butene means but means 4 carbon atoms and ene means carbon-carbon double bond. So by making use of the general formula of these alkenes, we can make a series of unsaturated hydrocarbons. So hope you people have enjoyed this. In next video lecture, we are going to discuss one more unsaturated hydrocarbon, that's alkynes. Till then, Allah Hafiz, stay safe and stay blessed.